Hey, guess who's back at Mogul Chix Chat? I am back after a year in some change hiatus, finishing school, life, all kind of stuff. But I felt now was the time to come back. I've been watching the conversations on social media, and there's some alarming things happening. As of the recording of this podcast episode, November 30th, 2025, we are living in a vastly different business, economic, and political landscape. Just to give you some context, let me tell you what is going on. 1.1 million people have lost jobs since the beginning of this year, since the beginning of this administration, really. And of that 1.1 million, 318,000 Black women have been pushed out of the labor force. 318, I think it's more now, 320, whatever it is. But the number of women, Black women not working has dramatically increased this year alone. For the first few months of the year, a record 297,000 Black women lost their jobs. The unemployment rate as of September of this year for Black women was 7.5%, which is nearly double the rate of white women, which is around 3.4%, and is significantly higher than the overall national average. That is alarming. If you don't think that's alarming, then I don't know what to say. A lot of jobs will not be coming back. That's the reality of it. AI, government interference, all this other stuff is making it so that a lot of jobs are not going to come back. Many women have chosen entrepreneurship as a replacement for losing their jobs. So there's a lot of background noise on the internet about how to start a business, how to run a business. Some of it right, most of it wrong. And those of you who have decided to not return to the workforce, and those of you who want to redirect your businesses to kind of fortify them to stave off whatever's about to come, I'm going to tell you all the things that other people will not tell you so you can triage your current business or preemptively build a solid business. But first, ask yourself two questions. One, is entrepreneurship truly a viable option for me? And how can I capitalize on these layoffs to recreate myself? Welcome back to another episode of Mogul Chix Chat. I'm your host, Adrienne Graham. I'm the CEO and proud founder of Mogul Chix LLC, and that's Chicks with an X. I am a serial entrepreneur and a self-made businesswoman who is a strategic business growth advisor, published author, mentor, and investor. We help female founders grow, scale, and get their companies investment ready. Mogul Chicks is a mindset, a way of life, if you will, and a blueprint for female founders who want to build a legacy of wealth and a generational business empire. We provide strategic business growth solutions and a platform for resources, mentoring, networks, and education. Our mission is to take your company from flat to profit generating to job creating to investment ready. My personal mission is to help you build and run a better company, reimagine the way you do business, and build lasting wealth. Oh, and before I forget, be sure to tag at Mogul Chicks using the hashtag Mogul Chix Chat on social media. Make sure you rate the show and leave a comment. It helps people find us. Share the love, share the love. Okay, let's get right into it. So, first of all, this episode is different from the others that I have done in the past. It's the reset, if you will. It's the foundation for everything I'm going to teach you over the next couple of episodes, probably 10 or more episodes, about entrepreneurship and how we move within that space. Before we talk about scaling to millions of dollars, before we talk about teams and systems, before we talk about money, brands, power, leadership, in order to have a real conversation about entrepreneurship, we have to understand what is going on now and what needs to be understood. I guess this episode really isn't for the newbies, but I do want you to listen anyway so that you can get an understanding of what you're walking into with entrepreneurship. So, entrepreneurs have to deal with the questions that haunt almost every CEO that I've worked with in my career, whether she's at 25,000, 250,000, or even 25 million. Today, I'm giving you straight answers, not fluff, not theory, just the truth that you can act on today. So, let's get into it. I'm going to focus on the top 10 questions that entrepreneurs and business owners often ask themselves. So, number one, what am I not monetizing and how can I monetize it? Here's the truth. Most companies sit on unmonetized assets because the founder is so close to the work that they're doing that they don't see the opportunities. Right now, you are probably sitting on skills you assume everyone has, processes you could turn into templates or licensing. That's another thing we're going to talk about in another episode. Expertise that could be packaged, a customer base that needs add ons or upgrades, and software or systems you're already building internally. Now, let me share this with you. The software part is something that I recently jumped into. And yes, I launched a tech company and was not realizing the tool or the knowledge that I had to build software to complement my business. And it has been such an eye opener. But I'll get into that another time. So, audit everything that you do, everything. If it's valuable, repeatable, or saves someone else time, money, or stress, it can be monetized, period. So I don't want to hear anything about I don't know what to monetize. Go and do a deep dive and really do an audit of everything that you have and everything that you're sitting on, and then answer that question. Question number two, why am I not profitable even though I'm generating income? So, okay, this one hits founders at least once in their business endeavors. And we are living in precarious times right now. And I understand that the economy and tariffs and all that stuff that's going on really do have an effect on businesses. But revenue, first of all, is not profit. We have to remember that. Busy is not productive, and demand does not equal sustainability. Now, I don't think I need to go into all of those because I think you pretty much understand what all of that means. But yeah, those are some things you need to keep in mind as you're thinking about this question. Here's some reasons why you're probably not profitable. One, like I said, the tariffs. I had a young lady be on a guest on one of my episodes a little while back who was talking about it was the best revenue year ever that she had, but they were not profitable because tariffs ate into those profits. So if you're a product based business, I completely understand. And this is where we are right now. Your pricing doesn't reflect true value or capacity costs. A lot of people are not pricing right. And I've given classes on pricing strategy and I've consulted with clients on pricing strategy. You cannot be afraid to reflect your value in your pricing. So remember, if you don't set your price, your value, excuse me, someone else will. You're paying for duplicated tools or underutilized software. Get rid of that extra stuff you don't need. There's so many things out there that you can use with AI that really eliminates the need for a lot of those tools. Take an audit and see what you're paying for that you're not really using as much as you should, and then get rid of it. Your team structure is inefficient. Boy, this is a good one. I want to get into this, but I really won't because I have a whole podcast episode planned for that. But let's just say a lot of you are hiring the wrong people at the wrong time, and you need to stop that because it's costing you a lot of money. You're doing too much custom work. Self explanatory. Give people options of the stuff that they really need and work on that, and don't customize it too much because then you're exerting more hours than you need to, and you're exhausting a lot of your time and energy doing special projects for one or two off, one off or two off clients. So you need to figure out how to stop moving in that custom workspace. Maybe have other people do that custom work while you focus on the main thing. And finally, your margins are not protected. When your expenses skyrocket, when you have a bloated team, bloated software, bloated expenses, that cuts into your profit. So you need to have your accountant, yes, accountant or CPA, look into your costs and make sure that you're saving money and not really spending or maxing out. Just because you can get it doesn't mean that you should. So here's my advice. on that question. Fix your pricing first. Pricing strategies are so crucial. If you don't understand how to price, call me, ask me. I'll consult with you for a fee, of course, but you know how I do. But you have to consult and find out why your pricing is not hitting. Then I want you to fix your operations. Whatever's not working, get rid of it. Whoever's not working, get rid of them. Because if you have too much piled on and really diluting your operations, then you're not going to be very profitable. So that's a whole other conversation as well. We're going to be talking about that later. But fix your operations. And then the final part is profitability is an operational issue, not a marketing. No marketing in the world is going to help you make more money. Yeah, you'll get more interest, you'll get more eyes and all that good stuff, but the marketing piece is not essential to profitability. So that's a whole other conversation for another time. Question 3. What systems can be simplified so I can step back? Listen, if you've been following me for any amount of time, you know that I have been preaching from the top, from the mountaintops, excuse me, that you have to eventually prepare your mind to accept the fact that you, as the owner, founder, CEO, president, whatever you want to call yourself, needs to eventually step away from your business and let it run itself with the people you put in place who can do the job that you can do. I get so much pushback on that because everybody wants to be the superhero and have that cape on her back and says, I can do this till the wheels fall off. No, you can't. You can't. If you can't step away from your business without it collapsing, you don't have a business. You have a job that is has a lot of overhead that you have boxed yourself into. You have to simplify by asking what manual tasks occur every day. What are those tasks that I can have someone else do? How are they repetitive? And how can someone take this on no matter who steps in the role? Can this be automated, delegated, or templated? Automation is your best friend. Templates will help anybody stepping into a role to assume the duties. Delegating is great. You should learn it. A lot of people are very leery about it because they feel like, hey, only I can do this. No, it's not true. Delegate. Where does information get bottlenecked? 9 times out of 10, it's you. There's perfection, that perfectionism thing that kicks in with people and the feeling that only I can do it alone. No, we can't. Got to delegate. You can't let things get bottlenecked with you as the court. And then finally, what is only happening because you are the one doing it? Again, that's a conversation that's going to come later on when I talk about talent. But you need to make sure that you have a capable team, that you're not standing in your own way. Here's my advice: challenge every system, take an audit. Again, there's that word. Everything that you do. If you can't explain the process in 5 steps or less, it's way too complicated. And you need to thin it out and you need to make sure that someone else can follow the process. Question number 4: where am I losing money and how can I fix it? Listen, I hate bleeds. There are only 3 places companies bleed money: people problems, process problems, and pricing problems. We already talked about the pricing problems, and we're going to talk about the people problems another time. But those are the 3 areas, and you have to get those under control if you want to be able to stop the bleeding. Here's my advice on that: audit every expense in every role. If it doesn't fit, if it doesn't make sense, if it's not a necessity, get rid of it. You should only be using things that are necessities for your business. You should only be doing things that are necessities for your business. You should only be hiring people who are necessities to your business. Get the common theme there? Plug leakages, by streamlining your workflows, removing unnecessary tools, as I said, fix underperforming roles. You got to reshuffle some people around in there and increase prices or eliminate low margin offers. If you are charging $100 for something and it costs you $90 to make it, that's a serious problem. So you need to make sure that your profit margins and your margins, are on point. Your pricing has to make sense. That way, when you have your money leaks, you'll be able to expose them and they'll be easier to close. Number 5, what else can I offer that will bring in additional revenue? Now, see, I have found a lot of people who say, well, I only want to do X, Y, and Z. I don't want to do this anymore, or I don't want to do that anymore. And they leave a lot of money on the table. And far be it from me to force anyone to do anything. But
This is where delegation comes into play, and this is where having the right team members come into play. Founders usually think that adding offers mean adding complexity. That's wrong. You don't need more offers, you need better aligned ones. You have to ask yourself these questions. What do clients ask me for repeatedly that you don't currently offer? What's the next natural step after my main offer that can keep them coming back? What transformation can I give faster, easier, or at scale? What could be productized? Now, everything can't be productized. Come on now, we have to be serious about it. One of the things that I was able to do is I was having a lot of conversations about protecting your IP. And I'm not an attorney yet, but there was something that was nagging at me. I said, there has to be a way for me to be able to help people with that. And what it led me to do was create this IP protection tool. And now it's not to replace an attorney, it's called Protect My Ish. And it is to get you prepared for an attorney. And it also helps you to do some things that will give you protection before you go to an attorney. But it was something that could be productized. And it's something that I've been talking about for years. And finally, this year, it dawned on me like, hey, just build it. And I did. So here's my advice to that question: build vertically, not horizontally. You want to build up. Now, if you remember, if you listen to any of my other podcasts, do you remember the one where I said vertical integration, where you got to go from raw materials to manufacturing all the way up the pipeline to the end product, and then distribution and all the other good stuff? Stack revenue around your best offer. Don't dilute it. That's self explanatory. If you need me to explain that, send me a comment and I will explain that comment. For the sake of time, let's move on to question number 6. How can I expand and bring on a great team? That's my favorite topic. And I'm going to be doing a whole episode about that. Hiring is not just about filling roles, it's about buying back your time strategically and building a company that has your team of soldiers that are so strong that everybody's producing revenue in one way or another. So start with your operations, your client delivery, your sales, and your support. Support needs to be last. Now, see, this is where a lot of people get the game messed up. They think, oh, let me hire an assistant so that I can get some things off my plate. Nope, that is not the way to do it. You need people that do what you do and can bring in the money. You also need business development people. Those are people that you need to have first and foremost before you even start talking about support. But that's another podcast episode. Hire for capacity first and your specialties. Great teams don't fall in your lap. They're built with clear expectations, strong leadership, and aligned culture. If you do not know how to hire, please seek out professionals to help you do that. And once again, Mogul Chix Staffing helps you do that. But if you don't know how to really find great talent, we're the ones that can help you with that. Number 7, how do I improve my customer's experience? The customer experience is so critical. Listen, going into 2026, customer experience has to be priority number one. They don't want to be AI to death, they don't want to be automated to death. They want a customer experience. Even if you have to use AI and you have to use automation, that experience better be top notch. I'll give you an example. For me, candidate experience is similar to customer experience. So when I'm working with the client and I tell them, hey, let's get the interview scheduled, let me pre-screen, let's get a workflow together. Most times it's like, oh, well, just look at their resume, answer some questions, and then we can make a decision. No, the candidate experience, especially now in this job market where people are ghosting candidates, is so critical. So I make sure from the minute that I communicate with a candidate that they are being touched by one of us at every given time until the end of the process. That is what customers want. They want to make sure that you're going to be there and be solid for them while they're having their experience with you. So it's not customer service, it's customer experience. And let's get that straight first of all. Customer experience is how you communicate, how predictable your delivery is, how your systems make clients feel, how you resolve their issues. Because, boy, listen, you know how when people get mad and they want to complain, if you brush them off or you treat them bad, you will be all over social media. And whether you keep your promises, you have to be able to keep your promises and deliver what you promised that you were going to deliver to them. If your clients love the feeling of being your client, demand becomes exponential. They will be telling people about you. They will be falling over themselves to refer people to you. Here's my advice on that. Map the customer journey from first touch to final outcome. That's a project that I usually give my students in the Growth Accelerator to work on. That's something you could check out next year. But the customer journey, we have to be clear about that. There's so many, especially with Black businesses. Can I just be real for a second? There's a lot of criticism about Black business and how we don't know how to do customer service and we don't know how to take care of our clients and all of this other stuff. But if we map out that journey and then we make sure that every one of our people that is part of those touch points does their job, you'll have a smooth customer journey. I promise you that. Make every step smoother, faster, and more personal. Forget all that automation stuff unless it's absolutely necessary. But I'm telling you, 2026, people want real customer experiences. Number 8, why am I attracting the wrong people and how do I find the right ones? Listen, I've had that many times, especially in the beginning. But wrong clients come from mixed messaging, muddied messaging, non-existent boundaries. Excuse me, the queen of that where I was like, okay, I'm on 24/7. No. Boundaries. Misaligned pricing. Oh, I'm just going to charge $299 when you're giving them $5,000 worth of service. Come on now. Desperate marketing. I told you about desperation marketing. You can't, people pick up that vibe when they're reading. You can't market out of desperation. And ignoring red flags because you want the revenue. Listen, no client, no customer is worth my sanity. If I get a red flag during the discovery call, we're not moving forward. If I get a red flag during the signing process when we're doing the paperwork and documentation, nope, we are not moving forward. It has to be a mutual flow, it has to be a mutual relationship. And I'm sorry to be blunt, you can't work my nerves. You just can't. My advice, you attract who your brand speaks to. There's plenty of branding experts out there. I probably only will recommend a handful. Everybody can't do branding, but you need to find a branding expert to sit down with you and help you to fix your message, fix your offer, fix your standards, of course, and then the right people will appear. Question number 9, how do I get a cash infusion to expand my company? Now, capital investments, investors, VC, like that's been a hot conversation all over social media, not just recently, I mean forever. And you cannot have a business that is not on point and expect people to invest in it. People don't invest to save businesses, they invest to enhance businesses and get a return on their investment. So, here are some of the options that you may have. Loans. I hate loans because they come with interest and you have to repay them back, of course. But loans should be something you leverage last, is a last ditch effort. Lines of credit. Now, line of credit is not bad if you own a home. If you're willing to take a gamble and you're comfortable with staking your home, go for it. You know, if you have a solid business and you know you'll be able to turn revenue and everything will be good, yeah, line of credit, go ahead and do it. You can get a home equity line of credit. You can get some other lines of credits with the bank, but those are all with loans. They are based on your credit. So if your credit is not good, you need to get that together. And I know somebody who can help you with credit restoration. Um, I'm not going to say her name on here. I'm going to wait for her to tell me it's okay to do it. But yes, go to someone reputable who can help you. Revenue based financing. Now, there's some sites like Square and a couple of other places who PayPal, I can't stand PayPal, but there are sites that, based on what your revenue is monthly, they'll prepare some funding for you, some financing for you. It depends on how often your funding comes, not your funding, I'm sorry, how often your revenue comes through. Some have minimum amounts that you have to make each month. And there is, you know, they based it on your revenue. Investors, oh Lord, that is the bane of my existence. So I do teach something called funding school. Funding school will be back in January. Funding school helps you to prepare to be investor friendly and investor attractive. Everybody can't get investor dollars. It's just that's the reality of it. You can't. It depends. And a lot of people go about it wrong. They go after investors for the wrong reasons and at the wrong times and in the wrong way. That too is a conversation we'll have, not today, but we'll have that another podcast episode. Strategic partners. Now, I've told people before, you need to partner with complementary businesses and be very legal about it. Have all of your documentation, cross all your T's, dot all your I's, make sure everybody's role is clearly outlined, and you can have fruitful, long relationships. So like think hair salon owner and nail technicians. Think HR consultants and recruiters. Think data centers and tech support. I mean, you got to find something that complements your business. Don't come out here talking about, oh, well, I do hair and I'm going to partner with this tax preparer. No, that's not how that works. Make sure you find strategic partners that bring something to the table and you both are equally beneficial to each other. And then asset leveraging. I don't like that one really, but I mean, if you have automobiles or artwork or cars, or I mean, I'm sorry, homes or whatever that you can use to leverage for the credit, for the money, for the financing, go ahead and do it. But you need to make sure that your business is a sure shot. And you can't do this because you say, oh, well, I started this PR firm and I know marketing. No, you got to have a solid reason for you to be able to use your assets to leverage them for financing. And then pre-sale. Sometimes, like I do that with books. I'll pre-sale if I'm dropping a book, which by the way, I'm dropping the Glow Up book coming in January. But I'll do a pre-sale before it's out and let people buy before. You can do that with other services. With you, if you have events, you can pre-sell events. Just be sure that everything is set and that you actually are going to go through with it before you start taking pre-sales. But here's the catch: lenders and investors only fund clarity, not chaos. So if you're listening to this podcast and you're feeling any of what I'm saying, you're probably in the chaos or just coming through the chaos and you're not ready for the clarity stage yet. My advice: get your financials tight, your story tight, and that's your backstory for your business, and your projections realistic. Look, I have seen some people come in, like let's say Shark Tank. They'll say, "Hey, my business made $10,000 last year, and I'm looking for a $3 million investment." No, you can't do that. You got to be realistic. Money flows to structure and clarity. Remember that always. And now the final question is, what is my brand actually saying to the world? Your brand is not your logo or your colors. It's your reputation. It's your track record. The expectations people have when your name comes up in any kind of search or conversation. That's all what your brand is. Ask, what do people repeat about me? I know what people say about me when I'm not in a room. I have people that, hey, I've heard about you. They'll come to me and say, I've heard about you, and so has said this about you, and so has had wonderful things to say about you, because I keep my relationships authentic and I keep my brand on point. What do people assume about my business? Now, if you go to the website, now, wait, let me back up. Because right now, as of this date of this recording, November 30th, 2025, the mogulchix.com website is absolutely in shambles. So if you went to the website, you probably be like, oh, what the heck? I don't know. But you got to be clear in your messaging on social media, clear when you meet people, clear in your marketing material, clear in your website of what your business is, what it does, who it serves. What does my content attract? Now, I'm all over the place. I don't do just straight business content on my social media. Sometimes I'll get in and rail against the administration, or I'll talk about the economy, or I'll tell a joke, or I'll talk about something from the past, something nostalgic. But I do talk a lot about business and I try to be as informative and helpful as I can. And I also go in and respond to a lot of comments. So if you listen to this and you know my style, I'll go in and I'll start conversations and respond to people's threads and their posts. But you have to think about it. What do they assume about my content? Like, what am I trying to say? Does my brand feel expensive, trustworthy, and transformative, or inconsistent and unclear and poor? Your brand speaks to you before you open your mouth. Make sure it's saying the right thing. I don't put a lot of emphasis on branding because I'm more focused on the unsexy stuff of business, the internal stuff that keeps you going and keeps you growing and keeps you making money. And not saying branding is not important, because it is. But To me, it's like lowest on the totem pole. Anyway, these 10 questions are the backbone of every company's challenge, big or small. They're also the gateway to transformation. So if you can nail these things, you'll be fine. I am going to be dropping a series, and I want to make sure that we are all women are building these phenomenal businesses. So over the next episodes, we're going to go deeper. We're going to talk about scaling. We're going to talk about systems, money, of course, finances, financial wealth, all of that. Teams, leadership, identity, operational ease, the CEO life design. Oh my God, I can't wait till you guys hear that, because that's going to be like a true masterclass. And I want your undivided attention when I do that CEO life design. Everything your company needs to evolve, everything you need as a leader to evolve is going to be in that series. So, if you're ready to step into the version of you who leads a powerful, profitable, scalable business, stay close by. This next bunch of podcast episodes is going to be specifically for you. So, if you were listening and you realize that you need help applying to the for these answers inside your own company, book a discovery call with me. Not a problem. I'm at calendly.com/Mogul Chix CEO, and that's chicks with an X. And if you are a founder at 5 million or more and you're ready for a high level strategic circle, join the Mogul Chix circle, the Mogul Circle, excuse me. And it is where serious entrepreneurs and CEOs sharpen each other. And if you have heard about the call, we do a bi-weekly call. We just had one this Friday because Thursday was Thanksgiving. But we do a bi-weekly call every other Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, where we bring together top-notch women who sit down and we're trying to work together to figure out this environment, this economic situation, the landscape for business, all of it. So if you're curious, if you're ready, if you feel like you want to be around women who are doing big things, join this call. Drop an email. Let us know how to get you on the mailing list, and we'll put you on the invite list so that way you can get the email when we have our next meeting. So, with that said, I thank you so much for tuning in, and buckle up because we're about to do this. So, thanks for tuning in. Talk to you soon. Bye.
I'm Adrienne Graham, CEO and founder of Mogul Chix, and this has been another Mogul Chix Chat. I want to help you build a better, more profitable company by providing strategic growth solutions, resources, mentoring, training, and access to capital. Make sure you check out the other episodes, and if you like what you hear, share the love. Pass the link on to your friends. You can find this podcast on Pandora, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, Anchor, and of course, on the Mogul Chix website. Make sure you subscribe. And if you subscribe and leave a comment on any or all of these channels, it helps other people find the podcast too. Sharing is caring. For more information about how we work with you to grow and scale your company, visit us online at mogulchix.com. Send an email to contact@mogulchix.com. Or you can connect with us all over social media at Mogul Chix, and that's Mogul Chix with an X. And if you're not yet part of the Mogul Circle, if you're doing over $1 million in revenue annually, what are you waiting for? There's so much value in membership and the communities. Or if you prefer a good program or trying to move beyond startup phase, check out the Mogul Chix Academy. I'll catch you on the next episode. Stay safe. Mogul Chix are always a step ahead of the crowd, and they're always closing deals. Remember, Mogul Chix make mogul moves and power plays. Your move. Now go be profitable. Bye.